What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and we're seeing more and more Windows phones with this second generation platform, if you will, with Mango, with 1.4 gigahertz processors, with larger displays, with front-facing cameras, and the Samsung Focus S is no exception. It's available now at AT&T for $199.99. So for $200, you can get a device that's 4G capable. At least it accesses HSPA+. It has a 1.4 gigahertz processor. Like I said, a nice big display, an 8 megapixel camera, and more. Now that said, it's going up against some hot phones like the HTC Vivid, the Samsung Galaxy S2 Skyrocket, and more. Is this a device to get? We'll find out in the unboxing. But first, gotta give some love to Best Buy Mobile. When you go into Best Buy Mobile to get the Focus S, the Vivid, the Skyrocket, whatever, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, get your voicemail set up, get all your settings the way you want them, so when you walk out that door, you're good to go. Let's take a look at it. Samsung Focus S, is this a phone to get? Let's find out, starting right now. So we're seeing that second generation of Windows Phone devices making their way to retail, and one of those is the Samsung Focus S. Now this is available at AT&T right now, and it's packing some awesome improvements. That said, at least in the specs department, it does fall a little bit behind some of the Android devices and the iPhone, of course, but you're thinking, okay, it has a single-core 1.4 gigahertz processor. You really don't need a dual-core processor right now on Windows Phone. That said, though, if you're a spec-hungry person, you're somebody that wants the most recent up-to-date specs, this is only has a single-core processor. But what it does have is a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED Plus display that has 480 by 800 pixels. So it's got a nice display, an 8-megapixel camera on the back with HD video recording, which is nice. It's running Windows Phone 7.5, so it's running Mango out of the box, which is really nice. 720p HD video recording, like I was saying, and then it has a front-facing camera as well. Let's take a look at this device, Samsung Focus S. Special thanks to AT&T and to Samsung for hooking us up, and then, even though I didn't purchase it, thank you for purchasing a Samsung Focus S. Well, I didn't buy it, but you're welcome. I always say that. Quick start, Samsung Focus S. Texting and driving, it can wait. That's absolutely right, it can wait. And you can see it's funny, they moved, you look at the Focus, the original device, and then you look at the Focus S, and what do you see? It's a device that's very similar, at least in look and feel, to the current Galaxy S2 devices on the Android side. So very similar to the Galaxy S2 phones, and that's it right there. And let's take a look at what we get in the box. Do not throw this card away. We won't do that. Windows Phone something something. Windows Phone something something. That's pretty technologically advanced there. You've got some ear tips for your earbuds, which come down in the box. Typical Samsung earbuds here. Nothing too exciting, but still, it's always nice to see them include stuff in the box. But it is a $200 device, so I would hope they would include at least some earbuds. But Samsung's always done a great job with including pretty, high quality earbuds. Those are nice. I'd listen to those. I have used those before to work out. And it has an inline microphone, volume up and down, and then a call answer and call in switch as well. So pretty nice there. 1,650 milliamp hour battery. And I'm doing too many things at once here. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what comes in the box. It comes in with the instruction manuals. Manual de información de salud y seguridad de la garantía. Samsung Focus S. Health and safety and warranty guide. And then over here, do not throw this card away because it has your product code. So you got your USB cable here, which doubles up as your charging cord, and then of course an AC adapter module over here, to which the USB cable plugs in and acts as your charging cord. So let's take out the battery here. 1,650 milliamp hour battery. Not too bad. Much better than what we've seen from some of the other Windows phones from some of the other manufacturers. Let's get this out of the way too. Move the box. Too much stuff going on the desk here. We'll move that away and take a look at the device itself. So it's a good looking device. A little bit of a flimsy battery door there. You can see how thin that is, which I can imagine over the course of time, if you pull your battery out quite a bit, or you need to switch your SIM card, something like that, that could break over time. Just something to keep in mind. And then here is the Focus S battery. Bam, 8 megapixel camera, like I said. And I do not have a SIM card on my desk, or else I'd pop in a SIM card so we can get an idea of the service. But that's okay, we'll get that in the review. And pop this battery door back on and get a good go. So Windows Phone logo embossed down there on the bottom. And like I said, similar look and feel to the Galaxy S2 devices. You can see here, volume rocker over here on the left side. 3.5mm headphone jack. You've got, pop that down, power button over there on the side. Camera shortcut button. And your micro USB charging port on the bottom. You've got your 3 capacitive Windows Phone buttons over there on the bottom. You've got back, home, and search. So Samsung powering up right now. Let's get all this junk out of the way. And you can see Samsung Mobile. And we're loading up. We'll go through the initial setup together so you can kind of get an idea of the look and feel of the device. But the 4.3-inch display is pretty nice. And even though this is a 4.3-inch display, it feels smaller in the hand. And I'm not sure if that's because I've been working with like 4.5 and 4.6 and 4.7-inch devices lately, or if it's just because they've actually done a decent job of making it look small. I'm not sure to figure that one out, but compare it to something like the Galaxy Nexus, which has a 4.65-inch display, or compare it to something like the Droid Razr, which also has a 4.3-inch display, and you can see that the form factor is just pretty thin. I mean, lay those on top of each other, and you can see there's some added space on the Droid Razr. So we're going to do the recommended settings. We are in Eastern Standard Time. Now with the time change, we're going to leave that the same, not now. Just want to get you in here so we can take a look at it. But very thin device, feels good, and I'm hoping that 1,650 milliamp hour battery will be enough to make it through the day. So installing the apps now, you can see like any other phone, it's a fingerprint magnet. And let's see, installing apps. Let's get the sucker loaded up. Come on now. Let's do this. Let's do this. This wouldn't happen with a dual-core processor. I'm just saying, no, I'm just kidding. That's not true at all. It's again, this operating system doesn't really need a dual-core processor. And 1.4 gigahertz is faster than the 1 gigahertz processor that was on the original Samsung Focus. But you can see it's got that typical hump down here that's kind of trademark of Samsung devices, both on the Android and on the Windows Phone side. All apps are done, 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 done. There we go. And I love that little whistle thing. It's you got your typical AT&T stuff, all of which can be uninstalled. AT&T Family Map, AT&T My Wireless, AT&T Navigator Radio, Uverse Mobile. Then you get down here Now, which is the daily briefing application by Samsung. You've got, swipe that and remove it, Microsoft Office, Photo Studio, YP Mobile as well, which should be able to be uninstalled. Yep, sure is. So let's take a look at messaging. You've got a nice big 4.3-inch display here. So perhaps you're coming from a physical QWERTY keyboard, you're coming from a device with a bigger display or maybe a smaller display, and you're like, how does this one hold up? Well, let's take a look. Let's do the rumor dog is hungry and ready for the weekend. Apparently the rumor dog didn't get enough to eat over Thanksgiving, but you can see quick and easy to type on, 4.3 inches. Makes the keyboard incredibly easy to type on. And I've always found this kind of interesting on Windows Phone. You do lose some screen real estate because of the notification, little drag down notification thing that lets you know your battery status and your Wi-Fi and your signal strength if there were a SIM card. But see how much dead space there is on the keyboard here. They could have made this so much longer and just maybe made it up here, made it a little bit different in the programming side of things, but alas, they didn't do that. So you can see it's still pretty easy to type on. Over here, I just wish they would have stretched it out all the way to the end of the display and made it even easier. So both portrait and landscape, pretty impressed with this. I think Windows Phone has one of the best keyboards on the market, at least the best on-screen keyboards on the market. The correction's pretty decent. I can go back and type the word and see some suggestions and quickly change, as I type on them, quickly change the words back and forth. So if I make a make a spelling mistake, easy, quick to go back and change that. And then like any other application within Windows Phone, you can see here the shortcuts at the bottom, and then by clicking those three little red dots I can get some more information and realize, oh, that's send, that's attach, and that's speak. So it looks good. Otherwise, it's typical Windows Phone setup here. No real changes to the way it looks outside of the other Mango devices that we've reviewed, but I'll go ahead and show you a daily briefing as well if you haven't seen a Samsung Windows Phone device. Yeah, let's go ahead and allow that. We don't have a network connection, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. Okay, so it did start up. Now you can see weather, news, stocks, and if I had an AT&T SIM card in this bad boy, which I will have one in just a few minutes, stocks would auto-populate, news would auto-populate, we'd see weather for the city, and I can see currency and top tweets. So a nice little application from Samsung, because Microsoft is pretty stringent about what they require, or what they allow rather, to be installed over Windows Phone. So you see HTC doing this with some of these applications, HTC Hub, which looks just like Sense, but since they can't install Sense over Mango, they do applications instead. Same thing with Samsung here, this daily briefing, kind of a nice little substitute maybe to TouchWiz 4.0, since again it's a stock experience across the board for the most part with Windows Phone 7.5. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with the Focus S. Keep an eye out on the site for this, for reviews, for first impressions, for all kinds of content on PhoneDog.com. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. And as always, hit me up on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron. Let me know what you think. Would you buy something like this? Would you buy something like the HTC Vivid, which is also $200? Let me know. Maybe they overpriced this. I'd love to hear what you think. Hit me up, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time, and keep it locked on the site for more coverage of the Samsung Focus S Windows Phone.